he go left? Is he a Robin? Is he really worth $300 million? These are only a few of the questions commonly asked when talking about Jaylen Brown. All somewhat valid questions, yet most are being proven to be ridiculously wrong this season. Jaylen Brown was drafted to the Boston Celtics back in 2016. He was the number 3 pick in the draft. Coincidentally, so was his future co-star, Jason Tatum. As time went on, we would all end up seeing just how eerily similar these two were. Even Jaylen Brown himself admitted there's a good amount of similarities between the two.
We have similar situations, but we kind of like polar opposites in a sense. Like Tatum is like, even in our game, like I'm more aggressive, Tatum more laid back. You know what I mean? Like, and that's kind of how our personalities is. Like, I'm more he'll probably say I'm a little outside of the box.
Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum are two of the best ISO scorers in the entire NBA. I mean, they can get a bucket on almost anyone. I've seen JB dunk on Giannis countless of times. And let's not forget that Brown and Tatum both dunked on LeBron James. Anyway, back to the matter at hand. There was a lot of doubt about Jaylen Brown back when he first entered the league. And for the most part, none of those doubts were really about basketball. Back in that year of 2016 when Jaylen Brown was drafted, a couple of anonymous GMs really thought that Jaylen Brown was too smart for the NBA. As funny as that may sound, they believed that he had too many interests outside of basketball and figured that he'd simply just get bored with it. And of course, that boredom would naturally lead to an early retirement. Jaylen Brown had a lot of interests outside of basketball. Some of his hobbies were being a part of the chess varsity team, playing piano, picking up multiple languages.
Yo soy dominicana también.
Languages such as Spanish, and attending the #1 ranked college on Forbes' list, Berkeley. On top of all this, he was offered a NASA internship. Yes, you read that right. Well, heard that right. I read it right. But he wasn't done there either. In addition to this, Jaylen Brown quickly became the youngest member to join the NBPA at the age of 22. For the record, the NBPA is the National Basketball Players Association. His IQ would benefit him more than anything, as he's shown time and time again on the court. In his rookie season, he went from averaging 6 points and starting only 20 games to starting a staggering 70 games and jumping up to 14.5 points per game in his sophomore season. I say a staggering 70 games because it's highly impressive in today's era, as not even guys like Kawhi play that many. Sorry for the Kawhi stray, he'll get his love in another video. Although, it was very obvious that there was something in that water Jaylen Brown was drinking, because in a one-on-one interview with Taylor Rooks, this man decided to tell not only her, but hundreds of thousands of people that watched the interview that he would have not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but 5 championship rings. Look, if anybody understands, it's me. I'd be lying in front of the baddies too, but come on, Jaylen. 5 rings. 5 rings. That's more than LeBron, and that's Kobe territory, in fact. And you're not even at his lunch table yet. That's what Kobe would say. Not me. That's not me talking. That's my inner black mamba, I guess.
One day they'll be able to sit at my lunch table. Right now,
While the jump up to 14.5 points was impressive, 2020 is when we got to see Jaylen Brown's actual star potential on display, as it was his first season scoring 20 points per game. After this, he never really slowed down, and the best part was, he was only 23 at the time. That following season in 2021 would actually be one of his best seasons ever. His minutes went up, he was shooting the ball more, he shot the ball better, he jumped up to 24 points per game and managed to make his first All-Star appearance. Brown was not only an All-Star, but he also placed 6th for the Most Improved Player award that year. While Jaylen was doing all this, Jason Tatum showed zero signs of slowing down himself. Tatum was already an All-Star at the age of 21, had been selected to be an All-Star 5 times straight. Despite this, the comparisons were closer than you'd think between the duo of Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, as Brown wasn't too far off from Tatum. This team would often be a strong playoff contender with this star duo, but for some reason, they weren't able to get over the hump. In 2022, Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum made their first finals appearance after clawing their way out of the tough Eastern Conference. They swept the KD and Kyrie Brooklyn Nets while exposing Kevin Durant in a way not many have done before. They then had to face a prime Giannis Antetokounmpo who took them to 7 games damn near by himself. Then they had to face a prime Jimmy Butler who also took them to 7 games in a series that went down to the wire, by the way. After going through 2 Game 7s, you can kind of see why I said clawed. Shortly after this, the Boston Celtics would end up losing to the Golden State Warriors in the finals 4-2, as we got to see Steph Curry enter his prime once again and win his first finals MVP. In addition to this, Jason Tatum absolutely fumbled on the biggest stage and we all got to see it. This is what ultimately brings us here to this video. Jason Tatum shot an abysmal 36% from the field on 21 points per game, while Jaylen Brown, on the other hand, had shot 43% on 23.5 points per game. I think it's pretty clear who the Robin in that series was. This was even more clear when you look at both of the last performances from these two of that year. While Jason Tatum shot 6 for 18, scoring a measly 13 points while also having 5 turnovers, Jaylen Brown shot 52% from the field and scored 34 points. Unfortunately for Jaylen Brown, his window to win 5 championships by the age of 28 was dwindling down. The bright side, you may ask, he was finally out of Jason Tatum's shadow. He proved that he can be the superstar of the team when it mattered the most. Or so we thought. At some point during the Miami series the following year in 2023, everyone realized that Jaylen Brown wasn't comfortable going left. The Miami Heat took major advantage of this, and it showed in the stat sheet, as Jaylen Brown shot a horrible 38% from the field and had a whopping 8 turnovers with 5 fouls in the most important game of the season. Thankfully for JB, Jason Tatum didn't do that well either in the closing game, shooting 5 for 13 and only scoring 14 points to Jaylen Brown's 19 points. Everyone was saying that the duo of Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown were clearly not working and that it was time to break the two up. And then one of the craziest off-seasons of all time happened. In this offseason, we got to see Damian Lillard finally leave Portland and go to the Milwaukee Bucks of all places. Damian Lillard and Giannis were the clear favorites of the Eastern Conference. That was until the Boston Celtics decided to get former Buck, Drew Holiday, and Kristaps Porzingis from the Wizards. Both of these teams were at the peak of their powers, as the Celtics had Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Porzingis, and Drew Holiday as their 4th option, and the Bucks had Giannis Antetokounmpo, Damian Lillard, and Chris Middleton. The matchup between these two was a great one each time we got to see it, and the season series tied at 2-2. Yet at the same time, the Boston Celtics were by far the best team in the Eastern Conference record-wise, going 64-18 as a team. You can bet this transferred into the playoffs as well. The Celtics were absolutely demolishing teams. The Boston Celtics gentlemen swept the Miami Heat and the Cleveland Cavaliers, and then swept the Indiana Pacers as well, without Kristaps Porzingis. Jaylen Brown really took advantage of that Pacers team, so much in fact that he managed to win his first Eastern Conference Finals MVP. His reaction to winning it was priceless. You can tell he was surprised himself. During the post-game interview, he actually admits why he looked so surprised when asked.
I wasn't expecting that at all. I'll never win shit.
Teams were literally waving the white flag as their star players decided to sit out of literal playoff games. The most fair matchup was against the Dallas Mavericks in the finals, who were on fire coming into the series, until everyone got the news that Porzingis would be playing in Game 1. He was arguably the best player, and he came off the bench. Imagine having a literal 7'3" unicorn come off the bench and almost lead the team in scoring, while also providing immaculate defense. This is all you need to know about this 2024 Celtics team. Who scored the most that game, you may ask? Jaylen Brown, of course. That Eastern Conference Finals MVP really put a battery in his back. It really let Jaylen know that he's capable of so much more. I mentioned it before, but this was actually the year of Jaylen Brown, as Jason Tatum had another horrible series shooting-wise on the biggest stage again. Jaylen Brown had another good outing, putting up 21 points on 53% and 7 assists in Game 2, while Jason Tatum shot an abysmal 27% from the field with 18 points. He literally had more field goal attempts than points, going 6 for 22. In Game 3, the all-star duo in Boston put up 30 points each. Jaylen Brown had 30 points, 8 assists, and 8 rebounds in this one. While Jaylen Brown didn't do the best the next 2 games, he still did enough to become the Finals MVP, which cemented himself in the NBA's long history. After winning Finals MVP, Jaylen Brown became the first player in NBA history to win a Finals MVP, but not make an All-NBA team. Talk about underrated. Not many thought Jaylen Brown would ever get to this point, whether it be the NBA executives, opposing fan bases, or the so-called analysts. Jaylen Brown bet on himself, not like Jonte Porter, and showed everyone why he is the highest paid player in NBA history after signing that $300 million contract. JB prevailed against all odds. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe. I want to know who you think should have won Finals MVP. Be sure to tell me in the comments down below.